with the kind of hard work that is required to make these legal mechanisms work, then I think this could have been a good thing. If the state were to make it properly functional by show of its political will, then I would have been hopeful. But my hope is very limited.
In the wake of the rape and murder of a junior doctor in Kolkata's RG for Medical College, the West Bengal government has unanimously passed a bill which seeks capital punishment for the perpetrator in case the victim dies or is in a vegetative state after the assault, and also seeks life imprisonment without parole for the perpetrator. Apart from that, the bill also has provisions for a special task force which will solve the case apparently within 21 days of the report, and many other such provisions. I have with me lawyers who will, who will tell us what are the pros and cons of this bill.
The bill, which is being called the Aparajita Woman and Child West Bengal Criminal Laws Amendment Bill 2013 to 2024, is to my mind, to my understanding, is a knee-jerk response to the immediate questions of institutional accountability, the demands for institutional accountability that is kind of very much out there in the public sphere. There are several issues with the bill.
Aparajita Bill represents a crucial and a necessary step towards ensuring that justice is delivered swiftly and decisively in cases of heinous crimes like rape. I believe that by incorporating the death penalty and the life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, this bill sends a clear and unambiguous message that the state of West Bengal will not tolerate such barbaric acts. The history, or all across history, all the punishment in history are based on the same proposition. One, that there must be a penalty for the wrongdoing, and number two, that it should be a deterrent. So for too long, the perpetrators of the horrific crimes like rape in our country have escaped with lenient sentences emboldened by the system that is often seen as slow and ineffective. So according to me, this bill rectifies that by ensuring that those who commit the most heinous crimes, and in legal terminology, we also say the rarest of the rare cases. In such cases, according to me, this bill is going in the right direction and it will prevent such acts in the future.
Many experts feel capital punishment punishment policies do not deter crime, and this bill is heavily geared towards that. What do you have to say about this?
There's a lot of information, studies, and it's not just studies. It's anyone who steps their foot in the four walls of a courtroom and works at the interface of criminal justice and sexual violence will know this, and they will be able to tell you that this is the increasing of punishment means, or harsher sentencing means, that there is a greater scrutiny, there is a greater judicial scrutiny, and therefore when there is a greater judicial scrutiny, where your investigation is usually very shoddy in a country like us, what happens is a greater rate of acquittal. So the conviction rate really comes down.
That the debate on the deterrent effect of capital punishment is ongoing. It cannot be denied that the most heinous and the brutal cases, the death penalty serves as a powerful tool of justice. But the death penalty, particularly in the rarest of the rare cases, such as brutal rapes, that results in the victim's death or leaves her in a vegetative state, serves not only as a punishment, but as a stark warning to the society that such acts will be met with the harshest possible consequences. It reinforces the societal understanding that some crimes are so abhorrent that they warrant the ultimate punishment, thereby upholding the sanctity of the law and the dignity of the victims.
Studies have also indicated that, that most rape victims are assaulted by people they know. And wouldn't such a law deter victims from reporting such cases?
Rape in India is fairly underreported owing to a number of factors. There's a lot of there's a lot of stigma attached to rape. So, and family, environment, and support, social support system is pretty much non-existent for most women. So rape is quite an underreported crime, even if one looks at NCRP data. But what a bill like this does is, when the punishment is made so harsh, more women will be dissuaded from reporting it, because we know that acquaintance rape is actually, it is far more common, far more prevalent than stranger rape. And we tend to go out on the street and we tend to demand justice when the rape is allegedly by strangers, because it's, of course, it is easier to easier to call out others. But when it comes to rape within family, I'm fairly certain, fairly sure, not many of us would venture out. So rape, if one comes to think of it, with such harsh punishments, harsh sentence, there's a less likelihood of women reporting rape when it occurs, especially in the four walls of the home.
This is a very complex issue. The law's primary purpose is to provide justice and to protect the society from individuals who commit heinous crimes. The introduction of stringent penalties like the death penalty is aimed at deterring potential offenders regardless of their relationship with the victim. It is also intended to reassure the victims and the society that the legal system will support them and take their case seriously. I believe it is a very important step where the police, the women's cell are trained properly and they are given proper education how to deal with rape victim cases and how to deal with such situations. So that due to the laxity and their certain issues in the law of evidence should not make the criminal escape justice and go scot-free.
This bill also talks about special courts and special task force. How feasible is that in a country like ours, where we are anyway hard pressed for resources?
The setting up of special courts, there is nothing very special about special courts. Special courts sounds extremely good on paper, but special courts without the kind of resources, without the kind of training of the officers who run it, who are part of that ecosystem of any courtroom, without that, special courts are pretty general, if I may add. Special courts need budgetary allocation. They need a lot of things. They need gender sensitization and so on. And if one looks at the special courts that are currently in existence, for example, you have POCSO court, you have the special court under the POA Act, the Prevention of Atrocities Act, and we have seen that how poorly they function, how cases get piled on, how their special public prosecutors are not always adequately trained. Sometimes there are judicial vacancies and matters are kept pending for a very long time. And there is this entire cycle of double victimization or re-victimization of the survivors. So special courts without these safeguards is really not special. So I don't think we should be very excited for special courts unless there is the political will to make these special courts function. There is this Aparajita bill. It also speaks of creating a special task force called the Aparajita Task Force. I'm really confused about this part, and I think this part is it has been drafted in a very cavalier fashion, because you see this Aparajita Task Force, it's not clear what good a task force will be without the kind of training. Again, on theory and paper, it sounds like a good idea, but your Aparajita Task Force needs to have the certain, I mean, just making a task force be headed by a woman police officer is not enough. And we already have several task forces. We have for example, the AHTU, the Anti-Human Trafficking Unit. These are also special task forces. And just because task forces exist, special task forces exist, that has never meant, or that does not mean that the rate of these offenses have come down, or the fact that these offenses and that these have resulted in brilliant investigation and speedy filing of charge sheet and very speedy disposal of these matters. In other words, speedy justice delivery. This is not, it hasn't resulted in that. So just having a task force is really not going to yield much without putting in the resources and changing the legal mechanisms that make the system work.
So I believe in cases like dowry death, where the special woman cell and the Commission of Women were introduced, this has really helped, because by having women police officers in those cases have actually made women confident where they have no support from their family.
What are the positives of this bill?
Seems to be a knee-jerk response, and I might add that this is not the first time that such knee-jerk response has yielded, has been yielded from the end of a state government in response to sexual violence. This is fairly common across India and pretty much across the world. But across India, we have seen that even after Nirbhaya, the state was only too happy to give us a law, but at least that was that was kind of premised on the Verma committee, which had an entire which had a deliberative process, and it was quite democratic in the manner in which it conducted its consultations and deliberations. So, and it was really progressive. The recommendations of the Verma committee were really progressive. On the basis of the Verma committee recommendations, some recommendations were taken up, most recommendations were ignored, some additional amendments were brought in, which were not recommended by the committee at all. But nonetheless, we had the 2013 amendment after Nirbhaya, which was by all means, which was a progressive set of amendment. But cut to chase, if you look at between 2013 and now in 2018, again there was another set of amendments, and even that was also in reference to a brutal rape and murder, and that is exactly how things have been in this country. And rape law amendments have traditionally occurred in a very knee-jerk manner, in a very reactionary manner. If the special task force and the special court that it aims to set up, if these are set up with the kind of resources, with the kind of with the kind of hard work that is required to make these legal mechanisms work, then I think this could have been a good thing. But without, and I'm not very hopeful. I've seen special courts, how special courts, the existing special courts function. There's lack of budgetary allocation. There's lack of training. There's lack of sensitization. There's lack of appointments of special PPs and special PPs are also not just special PPs. PPs are also very much appointed. These are political appointments, so it does not always necessarily guarantee that a special PP will be adequately groomed in the know-hows of special law and its nitty-gritties. So, if there was a political will to make the special courts function by doing everything that is within the power of the state to make it function, or for that matter, the special task force, if the state were to make it properly functional by show of its political will, then I would have been hopeful. But my hope is very limited.
Leaving the politics aside, with what is happening with the center and the state of West Bengal, we shouldn't comment on this. I believe it was a knee-jerk reaction because all the people were against the state government and their action regarding this. But according to me, this bill would create deterrence. The bill is it's a strong stance against strong stance on capital punishment. It serves as a deterrent to those who might otherwise consider committing such heinous crimes. Number two, according to me, it would bring justice for victims. It ensures that justice is delivered swiftly and decisively, providing closure to the victims and their families, which is really important, according to me. Third, the investigations will be swift. The rapid conclusion of investigations within 21 days ensures that the cases do not languish in the legal system for decades. And last but not the least, the special task forces. According to me, by establishing these task forces, the state ensures that these cases are handled with seriousness and expertise they require, leading to more effective law enforcement. Also, I would like to point out that by the state of West Bengal bringing in this law, it is eventually bound to be challenged in the Supreme Court due to many other reasons, I feel. But it's a good step towards creating a safer country for women, a safer India for women.